Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today we are going to be counting down the top 10 must-own 4K Blu-rays. So I've done a couple of lists like this where I counted down the must-own 4K Blu-rays by each decade, but I never made a definitive list of the top 10 must-own 4K Blu-rays through all the genres, through all the decades, and deciding what are the best 4K Blu-rays out there. And we're not just going to be basing this just on like visuals and audio. We're going to be basing this on the quality of the film, the extras, and then of course the visuals and audio. Those are the big deals. What's selling that 4K Blu-ray? What justifies the upgrade from DVD or Blu-ray to that brand new 4K Blu-ray? What's going to really show off your system? And I believe these are the top 10 movies to do that. Now this might be a little bit different from some other lists out there because I am definitely going to put some emphasis on the film itself. Like, I'm not a fan of Gemini Man, but that disc is incredible. I can't deny it. So if you want to like show off your system, I can recommend discs like Gemini Man, but I'm never going to rewatch that movie because I do not like the film Gemini Man, even though it is really impressive. There's just no reason for me to rewatch it because I'm going to be bored to tears the entire time. Man, just because I'm a film fan first, like I love physical media, but I'm not going to rewatch a movie if the film isn't good. That's just how I am. So the biggest deal for us physical media collectors is when our favorite films come to the 4K Blu-ray format. We always got our fingers crossed that they're going to be good transfers. Like my favorite film ever is The Terminator, and luckily that does have a great 4K Blu-ray transfer. A great 4K Blu-ray transfer that unfortunately you will not see on this list because, you know, it is Warner Brothers and there was some lack of extras on there and I would have liked some better packaging. So I can't say that that's one of the top 10 4K Blu-rays of all time, but we have gotten some fantastic transfers, and I do believe that these are the 10. And if you don't see your favorite here on the list, I want to hear from you guys. What is your favorite 4K Blu-ray of all time? You know, this is just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. You can disagree with me, and I would love to hear from you guys, but I always like breaking it down to 10. And we'll talk about a couple things at the end, and we'll also talk about what is the absolute worst 4K Blu-rays that I have ever seen. But without further ado, let's start it off with number 10.
I sincerely hope so.
And this is one of my favorite films of all time, and this is one that I was anticipating coming to 4K Blu-ray, and to have it come from the Criterion Collection and this great digipack. Now, the digipack is a digipack, so of course the cardboard, you know, it starts to fade on the sides and get a little bit damaged. I don't love that about digipacks, but still, I really do love that they broke out the fine china for this, and they really did a great job, Criterion, with this 4K Blu-ray transfer of this Spike Lee joint in Denzel Washington's best performance of all time. Should have won him an Academy Award. And luckily, this gave us everything we ever could have hoped for. The transfer is great. The visuals are great. The audio is great. There's some great extras on there. And if you haven't seen Malcolm X, this is the definitive way to watch it.
And acclaimed director Peter Jackson.
We don't stop till the screaming starts, you dig?
And at number 9, I got 1996's The Frighteners, directed by Peter Jackson, and I have this beautiful Turbine 4K Blu-ray. This cost me a pretty penny. This is the most I ever spent on one film to get on 4K Blu-ray. I just always loved this movie. I felt like this is one of Peter Jackson's underrated classics. It's a fantastic horror comedy starring Michael J. Fox. It's entertaining as all hell, and this Turbine release is incredible. You could have got this with this artwork here, or you could have got the alternate artwork that they made. I had to go with the original artwork. I was a big fan of the VHS artwork. I could just remember walking into Blockbuster and seeing this movie poster on the front of the VHS. Sold me on the film, fell in love with the movie, and Frank from Frank's Media Reviews, he's the one who told me when this came back into stock and said I had to pick it up. This is a 6-disc set. It's absolutely incredible, and everything in it is region-free, so just because it's a German release doesn't mean you can't watch this in the United States. It's got a fantastic, I believe, 4-hour documentary on it. Just one of the greatest releases out there. But of course, not everybody loves The Frighteners, so you know, this might be something that's really personal to me, and I think the film is fantastic. But if you're not somebody who loves The Frighteners, then you probably should save your money and not pick this one up, even though it is an incredible transfer. And at number 8, we get Top Gun Maverick, the greatest legacy sequel of all time. I actually also really like this 4K Steelbook. I would have liked some individual disc design on that, so that's a minor complaint. But back in 2022, the first year that I did this channel, I said that this was the best 4K Blu-ray of that year, and it gave your system a workout. And it sure did. It had a fantastic audio track. The visuals were stunning. It looked incredible when I saw the movie in IMAX, and it looked incredible at home as well. And you know, when you compare it to the original Top Gun, which is no slouch as well, that 4K Blu-ray is great. Tony Scott movies always just translate well to the 4K Blu-ray format. Like, one movie you won't see on this list, but I can always recommend on 4K Blu-ray is Days of Thunder, also starring Tom Cruise. I enjoy that movie actually more than I enjoy Top Gun Maverick and the original Top Gun. think the movie's just a masterpiece. I know not anyone's going to agree with me with that, but I always have a blast with that. And Tony Scott's one of the most underrated directors, and that 4K Blu-ray, even though it doesn't have a Dolby Atmos track on it, that DTS HD Master Audio is great. And, you know, I'm getting a little off topic because we're here to talk about Top Gun Maverick, but everybody knows how good this movie was. You know, Tom Cruise is one of the only actors who could still sell a film, and bringing a sequel to Top Gun and having it be this good, it had no business being this good. And to have a great 4K Blu-ray, that's just the icing on the cake. I can always recommend Top Gun Maverick, whether it be on this great 4K Blu-ray or just check out the film. I don't think you'll regret it. And next up, I have Arrow Video's release of Crimson Peak. Now, they did the original Blu-ray for this as well, but they also did a re-release last year with almost the exact same packaging. Fantastic packaging, by the way, making it feel like a book. But this 4K Blu-ray has some of the most stunning visuals I've ever seen. I think that this had the best visuals of 2024. Maybe not the best disc of 2024 overall, but you combine the great extras. Guillermo del Toro is also a huge fan of physical media. He makes sure that his transfers look good. He puts the effort in because he's such a fan himself. That's all we can ask for as far as being physical media collectors, is that the director also cares. That's why Christopher Nolan's movies are always great on 4K Blu-ray. They always come with a great documentary. All the bells and whistles, and Crimson Peak from Arrow Video also has all that, but the snow looks so good on 4K Blu-ray. That red clay and the white snow, like, it's visual candy, this 4K Blu-ray. It's definitely the selling point, even though the audio is great and the extras are great. And of course, Arrow Video never misses when they break out the old fat boxes, but they went a little bit extra with this, trying to make it look like a book. This movie I used to like a little bit more. The rewatch it went down a little bit for me as far as my Guillermo del Toro rankings, but it's still a great gothic, romantic horror film. It's not a straightforward horror film. It's definitely got a lot of romance in there. And if you can appreciate that, I think you'll appreciate this 4K Blu-ray as well. And at number 6, we have Warner Archive's only 4K Blu-ray release to this point, and that's for 1956's The Searchers, starring John Wayne, directed by John Ford, in both of their best films, in my opinion. This movie is a Western masterpiece with a lot of flaws to this point, but you still can't take anything away from the way this movie is shot. It's beautiful in the Technicolor, shot in VistaVision, that beautiful looking widescreen, and this transferred so well to the 4K Blu-ray format. This is a 10 out of 10 when it comes to visuals. The audio, you know, it's great for the time. That's all you could say. All you could hope is that it comes in crisp and clear, and it absolutely does. You get some great archival extras on there. Like, this is better than most Warner Brothers releases. Warner Brothers always nails the visuals and the audio, but they go a little bit cheap when it comes to other aspects of the release, and I don't think Warner Archive did that. I was really glad to see them go the extra mile with this, and this is already one of the best 4K Blu-rays ever released. I did not expect that. I thought this was going to be a good release. I had my fingers crossed, but this is almost like a boutique level release coming from a major studio, and it just blew my mind. And if you're a fan of Westerns, you absolutely have to pick up The Searchers on 4K Blu-ray. Next up, I got Second Sight's release of Dawn of the Dead on 4K Blu-ray. And this features all 3 cuts of the film in beautiful 4K Blu-ray. Dawn of the Dead never looked so good. This is my personal second favorite zombie film of all time, directed by the great George A. Romero. Tom Savini's special effects still hold up. You know, when I think of zombies, I think of Dawn of the Dead. And Second Sight, this isn't the original release. The original release was even better than this one. This is a re-release, which kind of like a more stripped down version, but it still gives you like almost the Arrow Video hard box. It's beautiful. Every single disc is great, and depending on which cut of the film you love, you get all 3 versions in here. If you want to check out the Argento cut, which kind of cuts out the comedy and of course has the great score in there, you can do that. I can recommend all of them. I think the original cut is the best cut in my opinion, but hey, everyone's different, and all we can ask for as physical media fans is give us options, and they gave us the options with this one. Second Sight is one of the great boutique studios out there, and they showed it off here with probably their greatest release in my opinion. And next up, we get Criterion's release of No Country for Old Men, the Coen brothers' masterpiece, the 2007 Best Picture winner, starring Tommy Lee Jones, Javier Bardem, and Josh Brolin. Everybody is doing a great job in this movie. Anton Chigurh is one of the greatest villains of all time, and Criterion knocked it out of the park with this 4K Blu-ray release. Now, this isn't a 10 out of 10 in any category, but the total package is perfect, in my opinion. You get great visuals, great audio, great extras, and great packaging. it just nails it on every single level. Now, nothing might not hit a 10 out of 10, but when everything is about a 9 out of 10, it's a jack of all trades and master of none, but it's still one of the best 4K Blu-rays ever released for one of the greatest films that's ever been released.
Why? How about because this is the most important thing to ever happen in the history of the world?
And next up, we have the best studio release that's ever been done, in my opinion, and that is for 2023's Best Picture winner, Oppenheimer, directed by Christopher Nolan, starring the year's best actor, Cillian Murphy, as Oppenheimer himself. Talking about the atomic bomb, this movie. It's a very well-structured movie. The film itself is great. It's endlessly rewatchable, despite it being an over 3-hour epic told non-linearly. You know, Christopher Nolan just knows how to do these types of movies, and this is his magnum opus. I cannot imagine him doing a better film than this, but we'll have to wait and see. His next film is The Odyssey, and I trust Christopher Nolan. Oppenheimer is a fantastic 4K Blu-ray release because they also gave us all the IMAX scenes, the great audio. I mean, the audio and visuals alone sell this 4K Blu-ray. The packaging is great, and whether you got this regular standard release or one of the steelbooks, you also get a great documentary because it's Christopher Nolan, another director who cares about physical media. So if you're an extras junkie like myself, we were eating good in the neighborhood with this one. I was so happy that we got everything I could have asked for, and Universal, you know what? Universal and Christopher Nolan were a match made in heaven. Everyone thought it was Warner Brothers and Christopher Nolan. They had a great marriage. It just wasn't meant to last forever, but Universal and Christopher Nolan, it looks like it's definitely going to work, and I absolutely love Oppenheimer. And if you can't see it in the theater, definitely check it out on this 4K Blu-ray.
Elvis, you like Janice, you like Kung Fu movies, you like the Partridge Family.
And like I said earlier in this video, all we can ever ask for is some of our favorite films to come to the 4K Blu-ray format in some of the best packaging with some of the best transfers. And for me, I got spoiled when it came to True Romance. True Romance is one of my favorite films ever. It's written by Quentin Tarantino, my favorite director, and it's directed by one of my favorite directors as well, Tony Scott. It stars Christian Slater. I'm not the world's biggest Christian Slater fan, but he's fantastic in this movie. Patricia Arquette is great as Alabama. Dennis Hopper in a small role is very memorable. And of course, Christopher Walken comes in and probably has one of the most iconic scenes in film history with one of the most iconic monologues and just steals the entire movie. It's shot beautifully, so of course it was going to look good. This is actually one that it looks so good on 4K Blu-ray. I wasn't as sure that I liked it because it looked nothing like nothing like the film I remembered, but of course I had never seen the film really in high quality. And then speaking of the great releases, we actually had two Arrow Video hardbox, one coming with the standard edition that was white, but I went for the Steelbook edition because I get the best of both worlds. I get an Arrow Video hardcover with a fantastic steelbook. I mean, this is the best of both worlds, and this is absolutely Arrow Video's best release in my opinion. And Arrow Video has put out some of my favorite 4K Blu-rays out there, but they nailed it. Gave us a 10 out of 10 with this one. And what can possibly beat True Romance?
Oh, no! Oh, shit. Damn, that hurts, doesn't it?
Well, we get Vinegar Syndrome, who always gives us some great packaging, but they gave us Roadhouse. Roadhouse is just one of those great action B movies from the 1980s that could only come out in the 1980s. Patrick Swayze plays a cooler, the greatest bouncer in the world, who's got to come in and save the Double Deuce, and while he's there, he might as well save the town as well. It's basically a modern-day Western, and it's just an absolute blast. You don't take this one too seriously. You're there to have a good time, and goddammit, you're gonna have a good time. And Vinegar Syndrome knew what to do with this movie. I'm not a huge audio commentary track fan, but this one has an alternate audio commentary track with Kevin Smith on here. It's just so much fun. People know what this movie's about. People who love this movie cherish this movie, and we got the ultimate release here when it comes to this. I mean, there's so much going on here. The extras alone sold me on it, but the visuals and audio are also incredible. And if you're a fan of Roadhouse, this is by far the best version of this, and I cannot imagine we'll ever get anything that comes close to this. And right now, this is the coup de grace when it comes to 4K Blu-ray releases, and the absolute one I can recommend to anyone who asks. And then I wanted to give a couple honorable mentions to a couple of great trilogies. The Godfather trilogy on 4K Blu-ray from Paramount, and then the Lord of the Rings trilogy from Warner Brothers. Both of these 4K Blu-ray releases are excellent. I think The Godfather is a little bit more divisive. Some people love it, like myself, but I know some people who don't really think they did a great job with those transfers. It kind of ruined the look of the film. I think they did an incredible job. Every time I watch The Godfather, I'll always be watching that on 4K Blu-ray through this Paramount release. I thought it was great. Then The Lord of the Rings. You get both the theatrical and unrated cuts on 4K Blu-ray. No extras. That's very disappointing. That's why I can't throw it on my top 10 list, but those transfers are definitely showpieces for visuals and audio. And of course, they're just great trilogies. So if you're going to be Godfather, I'm going to stop at great trilogy and say it's a great first and second film with a third film, but the Lord of the Rings trilogy, you have to watch it as a trilogy. And then these are the 3 4K Blu-rays that you absolutely have to avoid at all costs. One I forgot to grab off my shelf, and I'm not going to go get it right now, is Footloose. Has a beautiful 4K steelbook. Do not let that distract you from the fact that it's a horrible, horrible, horrible transfer. It's a shame, too, because I will always hold on to that Footloose 4K Blu-ray because somehow it's still better than the Blu-ray. The ones I just want done over, and I hope we get it, but I'll always watch the Blu-ray over the 4K Blu-ray. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, great extras. You get the deleted scenes on here, but the 4K is atrocious, so I'll always hold on to the previously released Blu-ray, which I think has the better color timing. And then, of course, the one that's just so disappointing, you know, the opposite of True Romance, getting one of my favorite films on 4K Blu-ray. I'm a huge Terminator fan, which means I'm also a huge Terminator 2 fan, so I own 2 editions of Terminator 2 on 4K Blu-ray, the regular standard edition and this 4K steelbook from Lionsgate, and this is one of the worst 4K Blu-ray transfers out there. It's notorious for being bad, which is a shame because it's fucking Terminator 2. One day they'll redo that and fix their mistakes, but for right now, avoid Terminator 2 on 4K Blu-ray and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles at all costs, and if you can't avoid those, please, for the love of God, avoid Footloose. But anyway, it's also Tuesday, so that means it's time for our digital code giveaway, guys. So I'm going to kick it over to my future self. Hey everyone, just popping in at the end of the video for this week's digital code giveaway. In every single video that we do on Friday, we ask you guys 2 digital code giveaway questions. All you had to do was answer one of those in the comment section. As long as you did that, you came back to this video right here where we put your name on a magic wheel. We spun that bad boy 2 times. The 2 names you landed on, they have their choice of the digital codes that you've seen on your screen before you today. And guys, the magic wheel didn't actually record, but I did take pictures of the winners, so that's what I'm going to reveal right now. Make sure your name is on the wheel. But our 2 winners were Thomas Anderson and Mr. Unknown Seeker. Both of you guys have won in the past and been longtime supporters of the channel, so you guys know how this works. Reach out to me at my email address, letstalkentmt@gmail.com, and let me know which of the digital codes you want. And as long as the other winner didn't take it, that digital code is all yours. And as always, you can reach out to me at Facebook, Instagram, the artist formerly known as Twitter. Direct message me there and let me know which of the digital codes you want as well. And if you didn't win this week, guys, we do this every single week, so make sure you come back to this Friday's video where we'll do it all over again. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We also have channel memberships, guys, so if you want to become a friend of the channel, a producer for the channel, and a channel director, you could look for all that information in the description below. But if you got no money to throw away, don't you worry about it all. We just hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, get out in those streets, tell your friends about us, and then we'll be seeing you around.